was a success here. And he said, if Don Lane can be a success in Australia, anybody can. Here is Tim Evans.
Thank you. Thank you, Bert. I would like to say, first of all, what a thrill it is to be here tonight. One of the first questions we're asked is, what kind of a guy is Don Lane to work for? Well, let me put it to you this way. Don wasn't born, he was cloned from Simon Legree. We've also asked, is Don hard to write for? Yes, Don is hard to write for because Don can't read. When we give him a script, we have to play show and tell. Now, have a look at what we had to write for him to learn this week. It's the alphabet, Don. Remember, we're up to D tomorrow. Okay, and yet this same man has a fantastic library of books in his home, and he hasn't finished coloring one of them yet. As you probably gathered, Don didn't have a formal education. In fact, he signed his Federal Hotels contract with an X. And he was so excited when he signed that contract. I remember he rushed into us and said, just think, 3 years ago I couldn't even spell executive, and now I are one. We're also asked what we think about Don's delivery. To be honest, I've seen a better delivery on the back of a truck. Sure, he muffs a few of our gags, but then what can you expect from a man who has to have an idiot sheet written for hello? But then again, Don has a terrific sense of humor, but you all know that. You've heard him sing. He has a great cabaret act. I've seen Don perform many times, and I've always enjoyed his joke. You've often heard that Don stands out among his fellow performers, and those performers are Michael Schulberger, Edwin Duff, and Tattoo from Fantasy Island. As you know, Don Lane is not his real name, nor is Martin Donald Isaacson his real name. That's also an alias that he uses because he doesn't want Bert Newton standing up in front of the country 2 nights a week and saying, good evening and welcome to the Izzy Feldman Show. But Don really dedicates himself to anything he does. As an example, when he was in the Army, he studied explosives, and he's been bombing ever since. And I'm probably the only person here tonight who is familiar with Don's work in America. In fact, Don's work was familiar with most Americans, which is why Don's working in Australia. And actually, we're very fortunate to have Don Lane in Australia. Originally, the American government wanted to send him to Japan to get even for Pearl Harbor. In conclusion, I would like to close, as you so often do, Don, with a quote from all your writers who at one time or another have said, you took the words right out of my mouth.